So we are now recording. All right. So um I'm gonna talk about promoters, do some like promoter tips, sealing the deal, different things like that. And then Christine, you'll just bounce off of me and kind of do what you do.
As per usual.
Okay, so a lot of you guys have been reaching out to me about signing promoters, and I'm going to give you my little take on it. And then I did some research online, and I got some different tips that I thought would be useful for you guys. So for me, when it comes to promoters, like for me, I just kind of feel like it's all about like branding who you are. Like it kind of all falls into place. So like you're growing your network, you're talking to new people, you're having conversations, your pictures are crisp and clear, what you're posting is positive and uplifting. And it's kind of just like a domino effect for me. I don't have like a particular way that I talk to potential promoters or a certain script. For me, I'm very much like go with the flow. I don't have a list of people I'm talking to. Um, I kind of just, people who are in my inbox, that's who I'm talking to. If people aren't like asking me, because I get this a lot, is if people aren't in my inbox, like, hey, what do you do? I want to know what your business is. Um, I start up a lot of conversations with people, and that's where you have to be observant and listen to what they're saying. Because I'll just be talking to somebody, friend to friend, like bitching about kids and yelling at our dogs, and we get into talking about what each other's doing, and that kind of brings up that conversation, and that gives me an opening to talk about the business. Um, One thing that is huge when talking to promoters or talking to potential promoters is definitely oops, it won't let me mute. There we go. Is definitely the language, how you're talking to them, how you're explaining the business, how you are answering their objections. There, it's hard to like tell you what to say to somebody, um, hypothetically, because everybody's different. Like I judge what I say to people based on how they are. If they're very like open and free and funny and kind of silly like I am, then I will play with that. Be like, girl, you just need to get on my team. Like, what's going on? But then you'll come across some serious people who you can't really talk to them like that. You just kind of have to, okay, I'm trying to think of how I would approach somebody who's serious. It's really hard for me because I'm very playful. But you just kind of got to get a feel for like what that person is like and play with. They always talk about that mirroring. Um, you know, Mirror how they behave, mirror their attitude, show them exactly what they're showing you, because that's the kind of like personality they're attracted to. So if somebody is really reserved, really quiet, and kind of laid back, mirror that. It's, you still are talking to them about the business or the products, but um, if you're super silly and super outgoing and just like in your face, and they are really quiet and really reserved, it's going to scare them. So that's why it's kind of important to pay attention to their personality traits, how they are. Are they loud? Are they, obnoxious? Or are they quiet? Are they reserved? Um, and and you can Google it because it was way too much for me to write. But as far as your language goes, different people, respond to things differently. Like instead of saying, hey, do you have 5 minutes? I have this opportunity video I'd like to show you. You can switch it up and be like, if I sent you a video on this amazing side gig opportunity, would you take the time and watch it and give me an honest review? So you're still saying the same thing, you're just switching it up because different people react differently to different words. That's why we try to stay away from like, I stay away from business opportunity. I always say side gig, because when you come at somebody with business opportunity, it can almost be overwhelming. Like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be running this whole business. Like, I work a full-time job and I have 4 kids. Like, and they can get scared and like not even ask you questions or anything. So I always like to come at it with, hey, I got this side gig that I love. You know, I have, you know, my crochet business, and I'm a full-time mom of 4 boys, and I have 2 dogs, and like it's a side gig for me. You know, it doesn't sound so overwhelming. And always when you do approach people, when you're talking to people, you have to have that confidence. You have to. There's no if, ands, buts, nothing about it. You have to have that confidence. If somebody's asking you questions about the business and you're like, oh, well, I think we get paid this much, or I think we get paid on this day, and I think we get like 20%. I'm not really sure. They're going to be like, this chick has no idea what the hell she's talking about. So you need to have that confidence. No, like you should know that you get 20% commissions. You should know that we get paid on Tuesdays. What time on Tuesdays? Like, these are things that you should have a basic knowledge of. So then when people ask you that, you can be like, yes, we get paid on Tuesdays. Every Tuesday at 1 o'clock, our commissions are posted, you know. And then your mindset and attitude is huge. If you are making posts, and maybe you make a negative post, maybe you're super stressed out, Cole, I'm going to hurt you. Go upstairs and quit. Put your jammies on, brush your teeth, get ready for bed. And when I'm done, you can watch TV. Mom life, y'all. I can't help it. In about 20 or 30 minutes. I'll be done when I said I'll be done. Anyways, mindset and attitude. You have to stay positive. And what I find to be really important for me is you don't have to paint this pretty picture of, oh my gosh, everything is perfect. My life is perfect. My hair is perfect. My face is perfect. My kids are perfect. My dog's perfect. Everything is perfect. Because that's not reality. You know, I have gotten so many messages and interactions for me talking about my struggles this month. Because this month has been the hardest freaking month for myself. I don't know why. I know I had some health issues, but it's just been like one thing after another. But when you talk about struggles, you have to make sure that you put a positive spin on it. So like if you go look at my post where I'm talking about my struggle, it is not a negative post. You will not get any negativity out of that post whatsoever, because I always put a positive spin on it. And that's like huge. If you're having a bad day and like you just want to rant, like rant on your notebook. Like go into your notes in your phone and just like rant out a post. And you know, just positive is what people want to see. And the more you're positive, you know, people are attracted to that. It's crazy because I used to be negative Nancy. Like I blasted my relationship statuses. Like every time me and whoever I was dating at the time was in a fight, I made a post about it. Like I was the negative Nancy. I was horrible, just horrifying. And as soon as I started posting positive stuff, and I stuck with it and I was consistent with it. And I still to this day get messages of people in my family that are like, I don't really care what you're doing, but like just keep doing it because you are the most positive we've ever seen you. And that's why we mean by consistency. Like it takes a day, it takes 2 days, it takes 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, 7 days. Keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. And you will see, you know, you'll see results from it. I promise you, you will see results from it. There was also some notes on, it said be selectively enthusiastic. And I really like this because you can be too enthusiastic. I used to do this when I first started because I was so pumped up. I was so excited about this opportunity and how I felt. But if you go on there and you're like, oh my gosh, and you give them all the information, and you're like, I'm so excited, I'm so pumped, like this does this, and this does this, and this does this, and we get paid on this, and we get paid on this, and we get paid. You are so pumped up and so enthusiastic, and you now have told them absolutely every bit of information they need to know, and they have no reason to ask you questions. They'll be like, well, I don't need to ask her this because, you know, she just told me everything. And then they think about it, and then, you know, you never get to have that conversation with them. You never get to make that human connection with them. And that's why, like, the messages are so important. That's why sparking that curiosity is so important, because it gets them in your inbox. So now they're in your inbox. They can make that human connection with you, and that changes the game. Because once you talking to somebody that you have a connection with, that you relate to, that you know is struggling and you're trying to help them, is huge compared to some girl I just saw in a video that was super fucking excited, and she told me absolutely every single bit of information, and now I don't have any questions. So you want them in your inbox so that you can make that human connection with them and then go from there, because you can build on that for a really long time. So just remember, keep that curiosity. Don't be over enthusiastic. Be enthusiastic because you want to be enthusiastic. Just don't like throw all your beans at the person all at once. Keep most of your goodies to yourself. I couldn't help myself. I'm sorry. And another thing, act like a leader. So no matter if you have 0 people on your team, 1 people on your team, 2 people on your team, 3 people on your team, you are a leader from day one. It doesn't matter. If you don't have anybody on your team, you're acting like a leader and preparing yourself for the team that comes. If you have a few people under you, you still need to act like a top dog leader, so that your team can grow and flourish, and you guys are growing together, and you're teaching them and they're teaching you. And you have to have that confidence of a leader, because you never know when that potential is coming. If you don't have, say you don't have anybody on your team, okay? And you're like, well, I don't need to lead anybody because, well, I don't have anybody. And then out of nowhere, you get somebody who signs, boom. And you're like, what do I do now? It's like, because you never know when a lot of my potentials that I've gotten have come like out of nowhere. They've been like the least expected potentials. And so you have to prepare yourself. You have to prepare yourself for what's to come. What kind of leader do you want to be? You know, how do you want to grow your team? Is somebody not muted? I can't tell. Okay. But like, you know, you want to demonstrate that behavior of a leader, because for me, like, the way I post, the way I go in my stories is a very leadership mentality. Like, I'm trying to do something different, and, you know, with my epilepsy foundation and stuff like that. Like, so for me, I want people to look up to me, be inspired by me, learn from me. And that comes from a leadership mentality. So whether you have a team or not, you always need to go at it as being a leader, because even if you don't have physical people under you, you are in a leadership role for your social media. You want people to look at you. You want people to be attracted to you, to learn stuff from you, to be inspired by you, to look up to you. So that's so, so important. Let's see. And always lead with confidence. Confidence is so huge in this business. I can't even stress that enough. It's been a really hard journey for me. I've always had really, really low confidence, period, low self-esteem. I mean, everything, but it's definitely a self-development journey. You have to get yourself uncomfortable and just go with it. Like these Zooms still make me nervous as hell. But, you know, if you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing. So you just have to run with it. And this one I liked a lot. What?
Did y'all get any water?
Yes.
Where's that?
On the kitchen table.
Thank you.
This one I really liked a lot. It was about setting goals. And this is something that I've had to really work on and tweak a little bit. But set a goal of how many people you plan on talking to every single day. Like every single day, do you have a number in mind in your head of how many people you want to talk to? Stick to it. You know, if you say, I'm going to talk to 5 new people every single day, talk to 5 new people every single day. You know, you can start small too. Like, I'm going to talk to 1 person today. I'm going to talk to 2 new people today. Like whatever number you come up with, stick with that. And, you know, make sure that when you have somebody and they're like, okay, I want to sign up Tuesday, March 3rd, whatever. Make sure you write that down. Because I can tell you in the very beginning of this, I didn't write nothing down, and I probably lost 10 freaking potential promoters because I did not follow back up with them. I completely forgot we even had a conversation or that they were really interested. The follow-up is so, so important. And I tell you, I know I've brought this up before because I have a potential customer that I've been working on since day one, since I joined this company, and I have followed up with her every single month. She's like, I still haven't gotten my commissions, because she's like a real estate, like, I don't know, she does the finances or whatever with real estate. So it's all based on commissions. Every month she's like, I'm really serious. I'm super interested. Follow up with me next month. Every month I've done this. I did this like 2 days ago. I was like, hey, I'm just doing my monthly follow-up. Like, how are you doing? And she was like, we're good. My commissions is getting posted. I will purchase on the 15th. Message me first thing in the morning. And I was like, finally. You're talking like 15 freaking follow-ups with this lady. Like, but she's going to be a huge, huge sale. So follow-ups are so, so important. If they tell you, because I know I've heard a lot about, I'm scared to follow up with them. If somebody tells you, hey, I want to do it on this day, they are giving you the open door to remind them on that day that they are interested. And whether it's customers or promoters, like whatever the case may be, that is your entry. You don't have to worry about bugging them because they said to follow up with them on this date. And even if they're like, you know what, I told you that date, but I'm not really interested now. Okay, thank you. No problem. I hope you have a wonderful day. Like, just don't stress about small stuff like that, because I understand. I have anxiety. I get nervous when I send new messages or like when I follow up, because I'm like, oh my gosh, they're going to like say no, and then I'm going to cry. But you just have to go for it, because you will get that person that's like, yes. And then you're like, oh my gosh, this was so worth it. And also, okay, this is specifically for promoters. I wanted to talk about this. What's really important when it comes to promoters, you need to know who your target audience is. Because if you are making posts about being a hot mess mom, a hot mess stay-at-home mom, or a dog mom, but then like your business post talks about college student life. I mean, this hasn't happened. I just want you guys to understand, like, you have to, you know, reach out to your target audience. For me, I have dog moms. I have mom of teenagers, you know, on my page. I have boy moms on my page. So I constantly am talking about being a boy mom, hating my teenagers. And people can relate to that. I'm not going to talk about being a college student and trying to get out of debt because that's not my life. So you need to be very aware of who you're adding. Be very intentional about who you're adding because you want your posts to trigger them, to be reaching out to them, something that they can relate to. So, you know, and also in that, when somebody reaches out to you and is like, I want to know what you do. Okay. Why? You're allowed to be picky. This is your business. You don't have to sign every Susie, Pam, and Sally that say, I want to join your team. I was having a really hard time coming up with girl names. But like, I ask my potentials, like, why do you want to do this? What is your reasoning for starting your own business? What kind of financial goals do you have? What do you want to accomplish? Do you just want to make $100 a month, or do you want to make $5,000 a month? Like, and find out like what their weaknesses are. What are their strengths? See if it's going to be a good fit for you. Because if you struggle with like being in like management mode or having to hold somebody's hand, and then you sign somebody who is super, super needy and that's all they need from you, you might like butt heads. So you want people, you need to, and I learned this, and I have from my last gig, somebody made me do this and it helped me out a lot. But write down the traits of what kind of business partner you would like to work with. What kind of person are you looking for? Are you looking for somebody who's motivated, somebody who's good at multitasking, you know, somebody who won't give up, you know, the first time they, you know, come across a challenge? Like, what kind of person do you want on your team? And then look at that and be like, are those the kind of people that you're adding to your page? Are those the kind of people that are commenting or saying they're interested? So be very aware of, you know, what you're looking for. You can't just go out there and be like, hey, join my team, it's so awesome. And then like you get all these different people and like half of them don't even really care, or they don't even know what they want. And then you guys are butting heads and then they fall off, and it's just like this huge domino effect. So it's important. This business works with a lot of intentions. Intentions is huge with this business. You want to intentionally add the right people to your page. You want to intentionally write posts that are full of value for other people. You want to intentionally show who you are, and it's very calculated. And if you do it correctly, you'll see, you know, results from it. But it comes with being intentional and consistent. Intentional and consistent will make you a freaking millionaire. I can promise you that. It is all about just continuing to learn, try new things. Don't be scared to get vulnerable. Don't be scared to reach out to somebody. You know, I've been going crazy with this Instagram stuff, and I've learned so much in the past 2 or 3 days. I've changed my Instagram like 3 times now. And I think I found one that I like. But it's all about learning. I still learn every single day. I'm still learning new tips and tricks, and changing how I talk to people. You know, doing the polls on the stories is really huge. And see, this is what I mean by it's like a domino effect. Like I've been doing my stories for like, I don't know how long. I don't get a lot of feedback on my stories. I do the polls, and the only people that answer my polls are the people that are with Thrive already. They're on my team, or they're on like our big Hustle and Thrive tribe. And I was starting to get really aggravated. But since I started growing my Instagram and really working on that, more people are seeing my stories. So I'm getting more interest. More people are like, hey, what are you doing? And it's just kind of like a domino effect. The better you get at social media, the more you're growing, the more people you're talking to, I've added like 150 people on my Instagram following in less than 24 hours. I've had people reaching out to me, messaging me, what are you doing? I've had people on my polls saying, hey, explain your opportunity to me. Like, it's just been like this huge domino effect. So that's why I say you kind of have to do everything. It's not just posting stories. It's not just posting. It's not just self-development. It's not just, adding people. Like, it's all of it combined. And the more you get better at each one, like, it's just going to be a domino effect. I hope that makes some sense. Also, there was another tip. They talked about like listening for clues. So obviously you can't listen, but like pay attention to people's posts. If somebody is struggling or having a hard time with their job, or they're like, I'm looking for a second job, or I'm super tired, like I can't stay awake with my kids, pay attention to those. You don't have to jump in their inbox and be like, hey, I got something for you. But you can interact with them and create that relationship with them. And then that will open the door to maybe being a promoter or maybe being a customer. We have to get out of that instant gratification, because you may want somebody really bad and it's just not their time. But if you just give up and you're like, whatever, and then they get ready in like 3 months and then you're gone, So it's just all about building. That's what's working for me, is just building my network, growing my stories, getting better at posting, getting better at, reaching out to people, messaging, changing how I'm talking to people. Like, it's just constantly trying to get better at every little thing. And then, it's just kind of a domino effect. If anybody has any specific questions, you guys can put it in the chat. And Christine, was there anything that you wanted to go over this evening?
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about, because I've had people, message me and be like, hey, can you check out my page? I'm really wanting to target promoters, like, what should I do? Don't change anything. We should already be telling our story, and having the mentality that you need to get promoters is kind of gross. You don't need to get promoters. You need to change lives, and that's how I look at it. You're not getting a person, you're not getting a number, you're not filling a chart, you shouldn't be in it to be making, money off of people. You should honestly be in it to change people's lives. So, I have enrolled, I think, 4 promoters, one of them being Amanda, and then 2 of them being flops, and then the other one being Lacey. Now, Lacey, sorry to call you out, but I made a post talking about, how I felt in my last gig. I was honestly just sharing my story. And when I was sharing it, or when I was typing it, I had the intentions of it reaching at least one person, that needed to hear it. And I feel like you should go into every post like that, go into every post with the intention that it's going to reach at least one person that needs to see it, no matter what it is. But I went into it with the intentions of it reaching at least one person. I talked about how I was in my last gig, what changes I've made, where I plan on going, and I pretty much just told my story, where I came from, where I was, and where I plan on going from here. And Lacey reached out to me. Never talked to this girl a day in my life. I don't know how long we had been friends. It very well could have been 5 minutes. It could have been 3 weeks. Who knows? But I had never noticed her. And as far as I know, she had never noticed me. But she hopped in my inbox and she was like, what you said, it was like you were speaking what's in my head. And I went into the post hoping that it was going to reach that one person. And this is where, the whole manifestation stuff comes into play. And if you just continue doing that, stay consistent. And I'll be honest, I fell off the wagon, and I need to start, sharing my story a little more, because I was getting really good feedback when I was doing it. but just share your story, share where you came from, what you're doing now, and what you're doing now, and how it's going to get you to where you want to go. And not necessarily in a, how do I want to say this? Not necessarily in a like show-offy kind of way. Like, you don't have to bring out all the lights, camera, and action. Just be you. Just be like, hey, I came from nothing. It was very hard for me, but eventually I got to the point where I could talk about, the time that I was on food stamps, the time that I was homeless. Y'all, I was walking around in the town that I live in 115-degree weather, barefoot, with nowhere to go. My phone was dead. I had to walk to my dad's friend's mechanic shop to call my mom. And as hard as that is for me to talk about, and for as hard as it is for me to talk about all the depression and anxiety and everything that came after that, I was in a really bad place. I was partying day in and day out, but people can relate to that. Do you know how many people want to get out of the situation that they're in right now? And you have the vehicle to do that for them. And if you just share that, pour your heart and your soul into it, and just go in with the intention of reaching one person. And that one person, not only are you going to change their lives, but they're going to change your life in return, because they're going to be on your team, And it took me how many months? Lacey's been with me for like a month now, I think. And I've been in for 8 months. So it took me 7 months, y'all, 7 months to find my runner, and I wouldn't trade Lacey for the world. And Lacey, I'm not trying to gas you up, but it's the truth. I would not trade this girl for the world, because I know where she's going. Me and her have had discussions. I know where she comes from. She knows that I will do anything in my power to help her succeed, and that's how it should be. When you become a leader, you're not this person that gets to boss someone around, or have to micromanage them. You have to know who they are as a person, and I know Lacey is doing this for her kids. So, every so often I'll ask her, how are your kids doing? Or she'll rant to me about what her kids do. And, it's not, I hate the word leader. And me and Rochelle talk about this all the time because she is under me. I hate that word. I'm not your leader. I'm your best friend. At the end of the day, you trusted me in this, and I trust that, you're going to do your part in it. There's no micromanaging anything. I'm here for any questions you have. You know that. Anyone that joins you should know that. I'm here. If you need me, utilize me to your fullest extent, but I'm not going to run your business. And that's the one thing that I feel like a lot of people don't necessarily understand, is that, you're not, like I said before, you're not filling boxes, you're changing lives. And when you change lives, you're not telling that person what to do, you're helping them get where they want to be. My goal is to get out of where we're living now. That is nowhere near what Lacey's goal is, to provide for her children. I don't have children, but I can relate to her on a different level. I can relate to the fact that she wants to change her life to better her kids' life. I want to change my life to better my mental health. So it's finding the similarities, knowing how to run with it, and knowing how to connect with people. And that's really all it is. When you sit here and you say, I want to get a promoter, I want to get a promoter, I want to get a promoter. No, you don't. And please, please, if that is your thought process, change it. Because you don't want to get a promoter. A promoter is just going to be a number under you, like the other two that ended up not doing anything. They joined me when I made a status saying, I'm going to try this out. This is the first time I'm doing this. I'm going to open up I'm going to open up free promoter spots. And they messaged me and they were all hyped up about it, and they did nothing. So I've never made another post like that. Like, forget that. Because I want someone that's determined. And if someone okay, Lacey, I will call you on this. She was on a free promoter account, but it was with stipulations. We had discussions for days before I decided to sign her up. And that again, you know, you have to get to know the person, get to know their situation, get to learn if they're going to do something or if they're just going to be another person that signs up and does nothing. So a lot of it is trusting your gut and sharing who you are and relating with the other people and understanding, you know, that you're going to get all kinds of people from different walks of life, and you can't expect all of those people to fit in this little box of expectations and stuff like that. Obviously, you know, you want the people that you can relate to. It's not like you should just be bringing people in by the masses. You know, you have to relate to everyone to an extent, but there's no cookie cutter description of what a promoter should be. You know, my version of what I want on my team is different than Felicia's, is different than Sam's, is different than Jamie's. And sorry, you three are the ones that are on my screen, so that's why I called you out. But, you know, we all have these different expectations of the people that we want to work with. So there's no cookie cutter response for anything. And if you do think that there's a cookie cutter response, or you do have, you know, similar messages that you send to different people, cut it out. Cut it out, because you want every discussion to be different. You want every single relationship to be so specific to that person, to the point where, like, you don't even know how to describe it to someone else, because only you and that person understand the relationship that you have. So I guess my main thing is, don't say that you want to get a promoter. You know, say that you want to make friends and you want to change a life. And then when it comes to posting, just share your story, be vulnerable. It's going to be hard at first, but I promise you it gets easier. I shit you not, the first time I went live and talked about, like, all of my issues, the very first time I even, like, typed out a post, I was literally like a leaf, and I was like, I can't post this. You know, when I typed it out, I stared at it for a good 2 hours and just kept rereading it, and then I would put my phone down. I'd be like, okay, I'm ready to post it, and then I would open it, and I'd be like, man, I can't do it. I'd read it again, put it down. You know, it's scary, but I mean, y'all have gone live. It was scary the first time you did it. Now I see y'all popping up in my notifications, so-and-so's going live, so-and-so's going live, and it gets easier. You know, it's just like a live. Just tell your story. It's going to be scary at first, but you'll get over it. And one thing I want to leave you guys off on, I don't know if Felicia has any more after this, but just stay true to your damn self. You know, don't try to be anyone else. You know, once you, again, that's going into these cookie cutter boxes. You know, you're different from Katie. You're different from Em. You're different from me. You're different from Felicia. You are you, and that's what makes your business so beautiful, and that's what you need to run with. So I'm going to throw in a little, like, challenge that I want you guys to work on this week until next Monday. I want you guys to share the most vulnerable part of yourself that you're comfortable with putting on social media. I want you to share the most vulnerable part of yourself at some point this week. You know, I wholeheartedly feel like you shouldn't post until you feel called to post. So at whatever point this week you want to share that. Oh my goodness, I can't stand you. That's my father, and he has been determined to hop on our Zoom with all kinds of motivational quotes. So here's his list that he went and typed out. But anyways, I want you at some point this week to share the most vulnerable part of yourself with your social media, and I want you to dig. So if it takes you until Sunday night right at 11:59 before you post it, so be it. if you need to brainstorm with me, I'm sure Felicia would be down too. And you want to say, hey, you know, like, is this what I should post? More than likely, I'll be like, is it what you want to post? But if you want someone to read over it, you know, I'll do it for you. Get vulnerable. That is where the gold starts coming out. You know, that's when you work through those nerves and you're able to actually be yourself. So get that out of the way. That way from here on out, it's smooth sailing. Felicia, if you have anything else, you can go for it.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on the being yourself because I remembered a question that somebody asked me, and I wanted to touch on it a little bit. So like being yourself is very, very important. Somebody, I'm not going to say their name because I don't know if they'll get embarrassed, but somebody asked me about being too vulgar, like in their posts, and, you know, just how to not be. Now, you want to stay very true to yourself. If you are a sailor cussing mama, like, own that. And the only reason I say this is because sometimes I use some cuss words, but like a lot of my family's on my page, my mother would murder me. So I do watch what I say, but I can tell you, I follow a girl here in Louisville, Kentucky. She is an online coach, and she's a mom to 2 boys. She is crazy and funny, but this girl says the F word in more of her posts than I've ever seen in my entire life, and she makes well over 6 figures a month. So that's, you know, I just want to say, own who you are. Don't be like, if you're a sailor cussing mama, like, use that. Own it. Be proud of it. I tell people, like, I'm crazy. I'm weird. I don't care. Like, you either like me or you don't. If people get mad at you because they think you're cussing too much, then oh my God. Well,
that is what I have lived with my entire life. That is what I come from, y'all.
oh my gosh. But just own like who you are. Don't like feel like because some of the leaders that you watch are very prim and proper or whatever. Like, that's not me. I'm not even trying to be that. I don't walk around with coach purses or dogs in my purse. Like, I'm not like that. I'm not going to even try to be like that because I'm not going to be able to keep up with it. I cuss sometimes. I scream and cuss at my dogs. You can ask Christine how much I yell at my dogs. That's all anybody hear. If I'm doing voice messages, all they hear is me screaming Vader and Tyrion over and over and over. That's what they hear. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm a dog mom and I'm angry right now. Like, just own who you are because people respect that. If you're a cusser, cuss. If you're a yeller, yell. Like, just don't try, because when you start trying to hold that stuff in and be a certain person because, you know, this person acts like this and they're really successful and this person acts this way and they're really successful. Well, you know what? Cuss, scream, yell, act crazy, talk about dumb shit. Like, just own who you are and be proud of that. I'm crazy, bipolar, got epilepsy, dogs. I hate my teenagers. And I say it proudly. Like, I am ready for them to go back to school. Like, I'm over it. But I own it. And people can relate to that because that's just how it is sometimes. So just own who you are. Don't try to change you or who you are as a person because you think, oh no, I can't say that because people look at me badly. Or I can't post something like this because it's not, you know, what everybody else is posting. Screw that shit. Like, post what you want, be who you are, and own it and be proud. And it was totally Sam who asked me this question since she was just like, I don't embarrass easily. I was like, girl, just be vulgar. Do you?
I could tell by her face, the face she started making, I was like, oh, it was Sam.
It was because I didn't really respond to it because I was like, I don't really know. But I started thinking about this girl that I follow because she lives in Louisville and she's an online coach. She makes a shit ton of money doing what she does. And she's not with like a specific direct sales company, but she uses the F word like every other word. But that's just who she is, and she has owned that. Like, she even goes like in her stories and talks about how she gets shit from moms saying that, you know, she's improper, she's a nasty mom or a bad mom or whatever. Like, she's like, I don't give a fuck. I make over $10,000 a month. Tell me I can't say the F word because I have kids. It's obviously working for her. So that's why I say, just like, own who you are. Not everybody understands me. Not everybody finds me to be an inspiration. I get hate mail. I get all kinds of shit. But it's okay, because I'm not going to change. This is who I am, and that's just it. Sam, you are who you are. Lacey, you are who you are. Jamie, I mean, we all are different for a reason. If we were all the same cookie cutter people, it'd be a really boring world. So just, you know, own who you are, love it, and be proud of it. And that's it. That's all I got. Give me a second. What do you need that for?
Stand.
Oh, you found it. Thank you.
Okay, so there is one quote on here that is actually really good, and he put a star next to it. So I feel like, to do him justice, I should probably mention it.
Awesome.
But it says, success is walking from failure to failure with no loss of enthusiasm. And I feel like that's something that we can all take with us, because, you know, there's months where you don't do what you hoped that you would do. But on the surface level, which is your social media, it shouldn't look any different. So you keep that enthusiasm. They should not know what happens behind closed doors. You know, if you feel defeated, if you feel like you're failing, just keep that enthusiasm and keep running with it.
Yes. Y'all, this has been the worst month of my life. I signed one customer, and I pulled that one out of my ass. I don't even know how. And like, the worst month of my life, like, no's. I didn't talk to really a whole bunch of people like I should have been. Like, it's just been a very bad month for me to stay motivated. But nobody on my social media knew anything that was going on. I even had one of my friends that we like message back and forth, you know, every other month or whatever. She messaged me, and I thought I had told her about it, but I was like, yeah, so like a cyst burst, and then I got stung by a wasp, and I had an allergic reaction. She was like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. You're so like positive on your page. And I'm like, that's the way it's supposed to be. I don't want nobody knowing that I'm hating my life right now. But you gotta, you know, keep it moving. Your struggles, like, if you're struggling, like, there's time, you can ask Christine. I'll call Christine. I'll be like, I just need to bitch. I'm super pissed right now. And like, nobody knows on my page. So like, if you ever like have one of those bad days, message one of us. You could totally have a bitch fest with me. I love that shit. Like, I get enjoyment out of women drama on TV. I can't do drama, but I love to watch it. So we could have a bitch fest. I got tons of shit I could bitch about. So just make sure that you don't put it on your social media, because then it becomes like a negative thing, and you want it to stay positive. And then when you get through those struggles, like I did on my page, like, hey, yeah, I had a cyst burst. I'm allergic to wasp, apparently. Like, my arm is still jacked up. And, you know, I just kept it moving. And it's the end of the month, and it's a new month, and I'm going to wake up tomorrow just as excited as I was on day one, because our potential is endless. You can choose every single day as a new day to be better, to strive to do better. I posted a quote on my picture today. It was, if you refuse to learn, you're not going to do anything. You're not going to be successful. If you are determined to learn and grow, you're going to be unstoppable. Like, nothing can stop you. So just every day's a new day. Keep on trucking through. Keep on doing what you do, because what you guys are doing, I will say this, I'm so proud of every single one of you. You guys know what you're doing, and you may have doubts, and you may think that what you're doing isn't good, or I'm not signing this many, or I'm not a mass enroller, I'm not running as fast as I want to. You guys are good. You guys are really, really good. And I couldn't be more prouder to be a part of this team. It's just a matter of being consistent and keep it going. Just keep it moving. But what you guys are doing, y'all make good posts. Y'all are in your stories. You guys are on these trainings. You're asking questions. You're putting us in 3-way calls. You're doing everything you need to do. You just need to understand that it is in God's timing. It is in the other person's timing, because even if you think somebody's ready, they may not be ready yet. But you stay there, you be their friend, you walk them through, like whatever the situation is, you guys are doing really good things, and you're being positive, and you're putting yourself out there. You just need to trust in yourself and believe in yourself. And I will leave it on that. So if anybody has any questions about anything, you can message me, or Christine can answer any questions. But I'm going to hop off here and get these crazy kids to bed, because they're upstairs getting into some shit. I don't even know what they're doing. So
imagine that.
I love you guys. Good night. Remember, we're always here for you. Message us anytime, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Bye, guys.